Hey listeners, did you know that you can get a free mini body kindness e-course? Visit bodykindnessbook.com and click get started. When you give your name and email, you'll be signed up for the course and you get a video, reflection guide, a sample chapter from my book, Body Kindness, and I'll be checking in with you over email. I hope you sign up. And I also want to let you know, if you're thinking about a little bit more support, I have two options. One, you can join a web-based group with the self-reflection prompts from me, and you can get that in a 3-month trial. Visit bodykindnessbook.com/spiral up. And I do one-on-one private coaching sessions. If you'd like to learn more, shoot me an email, Rebecca@bodykindnessbook.com. And a quick heads up, though all the episodes are marked with explicit, just to be safe, I do want to let you know that there are a couple teeny adult language words that end up in this podcast. And so if you should be concerned with that, grab a pair of headphones.
That was the conversation. And I had to kind of circle back and say, hey, listen, I know that, maybe the scale is saying one thing right now, but I still feel good. Can we wait to see what all of the tests say?
That was Bernie Salazar, and I'm so grateful to have him back on the Body Kindness podcast today. And as you can tell, we talk about some big and important things happening with him and his body kindness journey. And I really hope it's a helpful conversation for those who are listening. I wanted just to share, just in case you were wondering, how do we plan or prepare for shows? And to be honest, we don't prepare for our conversations at all. What I will typically do is I'll come up with things that are going on in my own life. I'll come up with listener questions that I've been getting from our Facebook group, just things I want to talk about, current events. And so I just kind of have a list of ideas of things that I can bring up, but we just say hello and hit record and see where the conversation takes us. So I would love to know what you think about our conversations. Give me an email, Rebecca@bodykindnessbook.com. A couple quick announcements, things that we were going to talk about on this show, but we ended up not discussing, is I wanted to let you know about the May Scale Smash Challenge. So this is absolutely free. All you need to do is go to bodykindnessbook.com and click Get Started. You'll give your name and email. With that, you're going to get access to my free Body Kindness mini e-course, and you're going to get on the list for the Scale Smash Challenge. It's happening all May long. So we're doing it for ourselves. You can literally smash your scale. If you've already done that, you can help encourage others to stop judging themselves based on their weight, shape, and appearance, and invite others along to kind of focus on positive well-being, a joyful life, a meaningful life, and do what is helpful in creating a better life and putting our attention to things that really, really matter. And it's not to say that this is going to make May pain-free because you've gotten angry at the scale or written a breakup letter. It's not about removing the pain of what you've been through or removing the pain of what you deal with on a daily basis just for living your life. But this is about power. It is about making a statement to diet culture, making a statement about body oppression. This is about sticking up for where our world needs to go, letting yourself get angry, letting yourself draw a firm line, a boundary that says, no, I'm done. And so whether this would be the first time you try something like this, or whether you're a pro and you just want to send some love and inspiration to others to do this for themselves, for their families, for a dear friend, or just put positivity out into the universe. So the hashtag is going to be Scale Smash. We'll check all that out over social media. Be sure to tag me, but you're not going to want to miss what I have, a series of tools, resources, information, motivations, things I'm going to be sharing from other people participating in Scale Smash, videos, and that's all free. And again, you go to bodykindnessbook.com, click Get Started, and you'll be in for May. Hey, Bernie, what's up?
Rebecca, I am so excited to be back on the Body Kindness podcast with you. I miss you. I miss all of our listeners. And I have been incredibly busy, and I'm happy to report that everything is okay and great.
Cool. So, what have you been busy doing?
So a while back, I think I shared with you and our listeners that my wife and I were opening up a brow bar. So it's a salon that focuses on eyebrows. Um, I have been immersed in, I guess you could say, the
Waxing?
beauty culture and waxing. I've been waxing poetic about what's happening in my life. No, it's just been very interesting. So we've gone head on. We are now open. We are in Lincoln Park in Chicago, and it has been nonstop. Getting the doors open, making sure that, I'm focusing on waiting room chairs and making sure that the chairs that our customers are sitting in are matching something else. I know more about brows and waxing than I care to know, but I'm really excited and happy about it too, because I really dove in. And it's made me think a lot, Rebecca, just about beauty culture. It's made me think a lot about where I fit in, what beauty looks like at every size, just a lot of fun things. So I've taken our conversations with me throughout this journey, and it's been very eye-opening, very brow-raising.
So, what does she do besides waxing? Does she do that threading?
Listen, look, and here we go. I'm going to go ahead. You asked for it. I'm giving it to you. She does everything from hard wax, soft wax, threading. We can do brow tints / lifts. We
Lifts?
do it
What's
all.
a lift?
Oh my gosh, a lash lift is.
I'm like the worst customer. I don't even have a pair of tweezers. I need to be a customer. But
Well, yeah. First of all of our listeners out there, put the tweezers down. Find a great brow artist and let them take care of you. Over tweezing, I think, is a crime that has gone unconvicted for way too long. So I'm going to leave it at that.
cracking me up. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, at least say the website so people can check it out.
Okay, so yeah, absolutely. We're www.banginbrows.com, spelled BANGINBROWS.com. We've went back and forth about that name. She says it's an industry term that when brows are looking good, they are banging.
Oh, okay. So it's like banging brows, not like bangs. Like you don't cut bangs and do eyebrows.
It's like
okay.
Banging without the G. Like, wow, those brows are banging.
Banging brows. I love it.
Yeah, banging brows.
Cool.
So yeah, check out the site. We're still working on it,
Cool.
but it's been awesome.
So you've been busy, stress, and we've talked before about upside of stress. So has the stress been energizing and good, or has your body kindness self-care life gone to complete total shit?
No. So yes and yes.
Yes to all of it.
yes to all of it. Like, I have had no time. My time is asking for extra time. Anybody who's out there and is immersed in their job or starting something new realizes that in order for it to be successful, you have to dedicate a ton of who you are into it. So yeah, I mean, everything down to the paper towel holders has to be thought about. And these are things that you really don't think about when you say out loud that you're going to start an endeavor. You don't think to yourself, oh, well, let me, make sure that there's enough plugs in this wall for our wax spots. So it's really learning things like that. But yeah, I mean, any time that I had, it has been completely gone because we come home to Bennett as well, who the Bennett's our daughter. How
old is she now?
She just turned 2.
Aww.
And remember, we started this right as she was born, like literally as she was born. So she's very demanding of our time, rightfully so. And I don't want to be tired or appear stressed when I'm around her. And so, yeah, there has been absolutely no time for either of us. and it's been extremely rewarding. But I found myself the other day, Rebecca, thinking about you and the Body Kindness podcast as I was scraping masking tape off of my main windows of the shop, because Bernie is not very handy when it comes to fixing things up, or apparently not even very in the know about how to butcher block paper your windows. So I put the masking tape directly on our front windows. And as we were doing the big unveiling to the public, granted there was no public there, the public was me, my wife, and Bennett. But as we were bringing down the paper, I saw that there was tape residue down each pane of my windows. And these big picture windows, huge windows. Mm-hmm. So I spent that entire night of what I thought was going to be us just tearing down our butcher paper. I spent that time scraping masking tape off of our windows, which took like 8 hours. So I finished that at 5:30 a.m. And the one thing I was thinking about was I have not taken time for myself. What does this look like? I'm feeling extremely stressed. This isn't right. I went through a huge range of emotions. And eventually I did circle back with being grateful for the fact that I was scraping it off of my business's windows. But it took a long time to get there.
Yeah.
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 And I know our listeners can relate. Like, I know you're out there, listeners. I know that there's something going on in your life that is all consuming and really doesn't feel as though you can dig your way out of it. I can really relate, but that's when I pulled out out of my little tool belt, the gratitude tool, mm-hmm. and just trying to thankful and be present in that moment. Rebecca, I was really trying to be present in that moment, mm-hmm. and trying to celebrate the fact that, I was able to do that my body was doing that. And yes, although it wasn't ideal, and yes, at that moment I was depriving it of sleep, it was still able to do that. And I think that someone who has lived in a larger body, mm-hmm. the majority of their lives, I find myself not giving my body gratitude hardly as much as I should be. Mm-hmm. I know that I have a brother who, and I think I may have shared this in a past podcast, who lives in what would appear to be an outwardly healthier body. And I know that he doesn't have the same conversations with himself about his body that I know that I have. They tend to be more positive. And that's what I was kind of confronted with when trying to circle back to being grateful for what my body was doing. It's just trying to be aware that I haven't really given thanks to my body enough.
Yeah. Well, so it's interesting. So I heard you talk. So I feel like you were saying, like, yeah, it's been busy. And so, yeah, body kindness sounds like maybe highs and lows. Of course, when you're busier and you lack sleep, right? We know sleep is good for body kindness, but there are times when you may lack sleep because of schedules and things like that. And to know that, and so that sleep can work itself out, right? But that also sounds like practicing body kindness, to be able to be aware that you're not getting enough sleep and maybe take care of yourself in other ways, like focusing on the priority work you need to do, focusing on, the time that you can have with benefit, and maybe putting on the back burner, like the need to kind of go out and run on a treadmill and watch the calorie burn increase or something. It's like,
yeah.
When you're busy and you're working these long hours and you're running around and doing things like that, you're actually moving your body through the world. Why is that not seen as exercise? So what would be a hindrance to body kindness is to judge yourself. Like, this is horrible, I'm not getting any exercise,
Mm-hmm.
Critic, as opposed to, hey, I'm showing up the world in ways that I need. I wish I could get more sleep. I'm there for Bennett, as much as I can be. I'm doing my best to manage my daytime energy. And like, it's okay that I'm not getting, as much purposeful exercise as I might want to do. I'm enjoying
Mm-hmm.
walks with Bennett. I'm seeing like your daily activities that you're doing to open up your shop as being helpful. And also, you know how to exercise, right? You know your body needs movement. You're not going to unlearn that just by having a few months of being stressed and maybe seeing a shift in what your priorities are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Everything you said was true. I was very active and very busy and nonstop moving in a way that, I hadn't really asked of my body in a while, because a lot of times, when I'm able to get a meaningful workout or movement session in, it has a beginning and it has somewhat of an end. And then you just kind of, go through your day. And no, like my days were full of workouts and I had moments of like calm,
Mm-hmm.
so it's funny to see that role reversal. And then I really tried to focus on making sure that my moments of calm were more meaningful and that I was fully engaged instead of maybe looking at my phone. It's like, no, I have an hour with my daughter,
Mm-hmm.
today. Let's make sure that we're doing something together or enjoying each other's company or, dancing in the middle of our living room. Um, so it's just been awesome to be this busy and see how quickly you can start questioning everything.
Really?
Um, and what I mean by that is this right? Am I doing the right thing? Just things that I think in the past would have led me to kind of maybe to not have such a positive outlook on everything. I think that I was able to approach it in a way that was a lot more positive in general.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the positive outlook. It sounds like the positive outlook sounds like that energizing stress. It's like stress. It's going to give you the energy to do something that you care deeply about, and having a positive outlook is very helpful. And actually, even if it's like a negative form of stress, not in a Pollyanna way, but like if you're feeling overwhelmed by stress, to be able to say it's okay, it's
Well,
okay.
absolutely. So, I mean, you brought up The Upside of Stress, Dr. Kelly McGonigal's book, and I did feel that there were moments that stress, although it wasn't fun, really helped me. Gosh, step my game up a bit and kind of
Mm-hmm.
just be more aware and
Yeah.
be more vigilant of what's going on. Anybody who's embarked on any type of a significant project knows that there's going to be hangups, there's going to be roadblocks, and I think that when we initially started, you and I talking on the body uh, kindness podcast, I was more of in a place of, well, if it gets too rough, you know what, I'm just going to kind of put it down for a second. And that
Mm-hmm.
second ended up turning into a minute and turned into an hour and turned into a year. Like I'm just at a place where I'm not going to give up on anything easily, but I'm also going to be very calculated and focused on the projects that I choose to take on. So it's not just, I guess it's not just expending my energies everywhere and not seeing anything. It's being selective in what I'm choosing to invite into my life and making sure that I'm seeing it through. And that's a really good thing for me because I'm like Mr. Yes. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
can you do this for me? Yeah. Hey, I can't do this. Can you get to it? Sure. I know you have something to do, Bernie, but we really would like for you to do. Yeah. Like, no, no, and no. And yes to that one.
Yeah.
And you can count on me being there and I'm going to do a great job, but no to like 10 other people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Is there anything that you feel like guilty about with respect to body kindness that's worth talking about? Just like, whether it's mistakes or just things that were challenging that you wish weren't as challenging, or you just kind of roll
Guilty.
with it?
No, I've just been having some really good conversations in my own head. So maybe they're not that good, but I think they are.
But what
So
are they? Tell me.
well, I mean, it's really, so here I am with my wife and we're opening up, in essence, a beauty shop. So my conversations are revolving around, well, what does that mean? Like, what does that mean? And am I feeding into a narrative? What is that narrative? How can we change it if we don't view it as something that's in line with who we are? How can we promote that so that the people who walk in our door understand that we are hopefully a different kind of place?
Yeah.
We did a lot of work on our website with some of the copy to make it very playful. I mean, with a name like we have,
Yeah.
you have to be as playful as possible. But a lot of thought went into a lot of those conversations I had in my head were revolved around that, Rebecca.
Mm.
Like, what does that look like?
It reminds me of the dilemma of being a dietitian who doesn't believe in diets. And,
Oh, exactly.
it's like, oh my God, I'm
God.
going to talk about broccoli. Should I talk about broccoli or not? What does that mean?
No, you're so right. Okay, so this is kind of where I've gotten so far. And listeners, you weigh in if you want to call me on anything because I am by far not an expert. But okay, so when it comes to brows or anything or hair or just insert whatever with the beauty industry, if a client comes in and they feel better about themselves as a result of the service that we're doing, then I feel good about that. And let me put it out there, guys. I'm not an esthetician. I am not waxing. I am literally I am my wife's hype guy. Like I'm in the back being like, woo, woo, you're doing great. Those are good brows. I love
You're
it.
the cheerleader.
Yes, I'm totally the cheerleader. But at the same time, being a co-owner with her, I do think about these things. And, if our clients can come into our shop, feel welcomed, understand that we're coming from a place where we understand that true beauty is more than an outward appearance, but also understand the fact that a set of amazing brows can also really make you feel good, then I'm cool with that. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. I think I think that I didn't want to overthink it, is what I'm saying. And I see a lot of smiles and I see the interactions that my wife is having with her clients, and they absolutely love her and they love the product that she does. And they both just leave happier. And that makes me feel good.
Yeah.
About this.
So that sounds great. The other thing that I'm just curious about is, how do you feel like you're evolving with respect to your own body image and concerns about your health or your weight? Where are you at with all that?
All right, let's get into it. Here I want to talk about beauty. You want to get into it. So let's do this. So last year, at the beginning of 2017, I went ahead and I visited my primary care physician. I had a full workup done. I've made it a habit since to do it every year. And truthfully, I'll probably be moving to twice a year, but I went ahead and did that at the beginning of this year. We haven't shared it on the podcast yet. It's really interesting. I go in there. This time I wasn't as pleasantly surprised with my doctor because weight became an issue. I think I was up a couple pounds. Nothing significant.
Same doctor?
Same doctor. Yeah. I'm like, what's going on here?
And you didn't go in, not that you should have to, but you didn't go in with any letter of I'm not getting on the scale, don't do this or that. You didn't go in with any of that?
No, but we had the conversation before. So it just goes to show you that you have to continue having the conversation.
Yes. You will always have to do the labor to protect your body and your rights.
I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
It was more like, hey, I'm seeing this, maybe we should consider. And at that point I was like, no, I'm actually okay. This is kind of what's going on.
Wait, consider what? Can you tell me?
Yeah, you can consider surgery. Everybody wants to consider surgery.
Really?
Yeah. So I was really, really not happy about that.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Good. I'm glad I struck a chord. So that was the conversation. Wow. And I had to kind of circle back and say, hey, listen, I know that, maybe the scale is saying one thing right now, but I still feel good. Can we wait to see what all of the tests say? So I got my results back. And of course, I don't know what's going on nowadays with, maybe it's just my doctor's office or the medical industry in general, but I was waiting for a call. The call didn't come right away. So I'm calling into the office to check for my test results. And I guess they make it a practice of, if nothing's wrong, then
they don't call you.
They don't call you. What the hell kind of service is that? We wouldn't even allow that for oil changes on our car, but we're going to settle for that when it comes to the most important vehicle that we have, our body. So
some practices will have client portals so you could look it up and everything, but it's a time, they can't bill for a phone call when they can't tell you that something's wrong. You got to come back in,
Oh, it's just,
follow the money, Bernie. Even for the surgery recommendation, follow the money.
Boo, I know. Believe me. And that really turned me off. But so
you need a new doctor.
Yeah. And that's so that, yes, bottom line, that's true. And so I call in, I speak with the receptionist. She's like, Bernie, everything's fine. You're okay. Okay. Thanks for calling in. And then I just kind of hung up and I sat there and I felt dazed and stunned. And I called back up and I said, listen, I know that I'm fine. I told the doctor I was fine. I felt fine. But can you please forward me on all my results? I need those emailed to me. You're just going to tell me I'm fine. first of all, let's start respecting our patients more, because there's a lot of people that know how to read or know somebody in their life that is able to really decipher some of those numbers and
Mm-hmm.
can truly look at what has changed. Is that good? Is that something that we need to be concerned with? Obviously, our doctors don't have the time, or it doesn't pay for them to really break down each number, because maybe it's above our head. But like, that's a horrible way to approach your patients, because I tend
It's
to
horrible. It's unethical. I
I
mean, he
I
was using weight stigma because the only marker of bringing up weight loss surgery to you before labs was your
yeah.
body weight.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
And do
Yeah,
you know that scientifically that actually is correlated with increased body image stress, increased healthcare stress, which is directly correlated with healthcare avoidance?
yeah.
Basically, if this is how I'm going to be treated, I'm just not going to go to the doctor anymore.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that's where I was before. So I was extremely, extremely disappointed, mad, and you're right. Had I not had this type of relationship with body kindness and with you and with our listeners, and really have gone through this much work, I would definitely have been like, well, why the hell am I going to a doctor? I know I'm overweight. Like, this is, if this is going to be your diagnosis every time, like, I'm not coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's actually, to be honest, that was my experience with dietitians for a long time too. Was
Oh, not surprising.
I was trying to get me, to eat more vegetables,
Yeah.
and measure this and make sure it's
Mm-hmm.
the size of your thumb and the size of your palm. Like, I get like I have smaller hands and I'm a bigger guy, so I was really pissed. I was like, can I borrow this person's hand? You know what I mean? It's like, give me a
Yeah.
model of what size,
Yeah.
protein I
It's
can have.
all
So,
wrong. It's all wrong. It's broken. It's just, I mean, at the end of the day, it is very, very, very good to go and see your doctor. And we all deserve doctors who aren't going to apply weight stigma. I actually, when I go to the doctor, I refuse weights. And there's, sometimes if it's a new, nurse or PA, they're kind of like, because you never know who's going to weigh you. And I just say, you don't need to know it. And rather protect my privacy. I'm not here to talk about anything that's related to weight or concern. But if so, the doctor and I can have that discussion in the room, and we could decide to get a weight then. So I just refuse. And you can do that too. And yeah, I mean, you need a new doctor, but the fact that's what you and people need to understand is that who is really wrong in that scenario? The doctor deciding that before there were even labs, or before you did not even bring that up, like you going in, I want to get a check in on my labs. I want to check in on my health and my well-being. Why is weight seen as the number one marker? Why was that brought up by him? Why is it not? Do you have any concerns that you want to bring up about your health and well-being? Do you have concerns about your eating or exercise habits or stress that I might be able to help you with? There are ways to kind of ask questions about what you want to talk about that respect your body autonomy and your privacy and your interest in what you're there for. And doctors should be treating their higher weight patients the same as their lower weight patients, and the advice should be the same. And it's messed up. Medical community is messed up. The way, it's all broken. And I'm so sorry you had to go through with that. But you do need to keep up on medical care, because the labs are important, and there's medicine for anything that could ever happen. But I think that you deserve the kind of care that a person at a lower weight would get. And so, yeah, I think it's like, at least firm conversation with the doctor territory, and, we can.
I mean, it's obvious I'm going to go somewhere else, and I have to have that conversation. And I do think it's my responsibility to continue to have that conversation, because I've learned my lesson this time around. I agree with you 100%. Like, this in the past may have deterred me from continuing to be consistent when it comes to knowing my numbers and things like that. But like, I just see it as a learning experience. I've stayed positive. I didn't take offense to it, but I wasn't happy with it. I mean, and I think I didn't take offense to it because I've been numbed by it. I've been in a larger body my whole life. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had some worse crap said to me.
Yeah.
Like this is just like, hey, have you considered surgery?
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I mean, I've considered a lot of things too, but I mean,
Well, there's a word for that, Bernie. It's called internalized weight stigma, and it's the belief that the person deserves the oppression they're getting.
yeah, well, that's deep. Damn it. Okay.
Cue the shark music. No,
right? No, absolutely. I understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
and you're right. It has been, and we have done a lot of work together, and me with myself to try to understand that that's not right, and that that oppression is very real, and that I need to confront it. So I think me not spiraling or spiraling down, and not feeling completely offended, and having it affect my health negatively is definitely a step in the right direction.
Do you think it would have led to like binge eating or exercise avoidance, or just even like just anything like that?
For me, it would have. I would have got stuck on
self-blame, maybe body image stuff.
Self-blame. Yeah. This is why things aren't going right in my life. I would be so much more successful, or have so much more energy to do the things that the guy in the postcard's doing. If
yeah, in the past, but you were more resilient this year. You were more resilient.
I was like, hey, yeah, I get it. No, I'm not going to do the surgery. I'm actually really freaking handsome.
I agree. I've always thought you were cute.
But those are the types of things, Rebecca, that I would have questioned. Like, oh my gosh, like I don't feel, like I don't feel good about myself. But that's not where I was. That's not where I ended up. I took it with a grain of salt. Maybe I should have, really gone out of my way to make it a point to say, hey, that's not what I came in here and asked. But at the same time, I was just happy with my own little victory. Yeah. And I will.
Well, so the bottom line is your labs are fine, because they never called your labs are fine. You contacted them. Yeah.
I contacted them. I actually have my numbers. Like everything's good. And I'm keeping records of where I'm at.
Yeah.
When I go and have these full physicals done. Yeah. And I'm okay right now.
Yeah.
And I'm basing it off of, my energy level, how I'm able to interact with my day-to-day responsibilities and
well, also you choosing where you want to take meaningful actions, if any, right? So you choose based on what is interesting to you, right? So if you stay busy and physical during the day, exercise, kind of like what we think of it, might go on the back burner for a while for you now, because you want to enjoy family time, you want to enjoy sleep. Yes. And who knows, we didn't even talk about food and nutrition or whatever, but there's nothing wrong with being like, oh, I want to, I don't know, prepare more foods at home because we ate a lot out when we were getting the shop ready. Exactly. That would come from within, not because you went to a doctor and they said, oh, you got to do something. I mean, so much bias and judgment in that. I'm so glad you're resilient.
A lot of things have come out of it. Like you said, I mean, there's just been some, even when it comes to nutrition and what I'm putting in my body, like, it hasn't been all ideal while you're building out or starting a business, but at the same time, I didn't beat myself up over it. And I know that there's always a place to come back to continue to consume things that make my body feel good, and there were a couple of times where I'm like, oh, shouldn't have had that. Didn't feel really good about that, because I physically, I just, it weighed me down while I was trying to accomplish something else. Yeah. So I haven't had a lot of those, and I don't want to call them missteps, but opportunities to check in with my body as far as what I'm putting into it in a while, because I've been pretty mindful about how foods are making me feel. So that was pretty eye-opening and a great learning experience. Yeah,
well, that's awesome. But and even just to clarify, just to kind of give some meaning to that, because I'm sure some listeners will be curious. So when you kind of talk about, oh, I don't know, like shouldn't have done that, right? Like you're talking about this idea first of all, you're looking at the behavior. So it's not about I'm a bad person, which is really important. You're looking at a behavior and you're noticing. So you're doing attunement where you're connecting to your body and it's like, oh, I kind of feel like really stuffed and full. I kind of feel a little lethargic maybe, so like if you can give a description to how you feel.
No, absolutely. So when I say, oh, I shouldn't have done that, it wasn't like, oh, I ate too many slices of pizza. Shouldn't have done. No, it was more like, gosh, my body didn't like that. I'm definitely feeling a little cloudy or hazy or more tired than I usually do when I consume something that doesn't make me feel this way.
Right.
I mean? So,
and then the way I would take a mindset through that is you start with self-compassion. Like, no matter what, it's okay. My body needed the energy. I enjoyed the taste of it. I'm just kind of feeling a little, like you said, hazy. And then when you trust digestion, you say something like, it's okay, like rest and digest. Let me get refocused on these important things I really care about. And then also maybe even expressing gratitude. Like, I'm grateful for that meal break. I'm grateful that it tasted good. I'm grateful for the energy that it's giving me to help continue on in my tasks. And so there's this whole kind of compassionate side of it where it's not good food, good person, bad person, but it's just you noticed how something felt in your body. And look, we're all human. So you never really know when a thought might come in that's just like, oh, like shooting on yourself. But you have that ability to work on like the framing of it. And so I slowed that down just because for the benefit of listeners.
Because I really did fast forward through it. And I needed that speed bump, Rebecca, because for our listeners out there, I just feel I'm in such a different place from when I started speaking out loud about all that we talk about on this podcast. So yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. It's more of that, like checking in with how I'm feeling, not just physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, about a lot of things that are happening in my life. And you know what? As a result, I just enjoy life and foods and everything around me a lot more, because I think in the past I thought to myself, oh, I shouldn't have this food. And then I would go and have that food and overdo it and then end up not enjoying it 3/4 of the way in because it was way too much for my body to take in. So, I mean, definitely at a different place. And anybody who's listening to us and just starting off and just tuning in, like, stick with this. Believe me, because it's going to be able to kind of help you make sense of the world a little bit more so. And it has for me. I don't know. I'm rambling here, but I just stick with this podcast. You're not a bad person for being, for living in a larger size body, or for not living in an ideal size body, or for being too short. Like, just know Bernie loves you.
Yeah. So there's something you said earlier, and I was like, do I bring it up now? But I'm going to bring it up now. And it's just an invitation to think about how you identify. So you use the word overweight. And one of my difficulties with the word overweight is because it implies like over what weight, right? It implies that there is a weight, that there's a line where you, Bernie Salazar, should be, and that you are over that number, and that there's something wrong with that. And so it's just something to sit with and think about, but our identities are really important. And the reality of it is that you have good labs. You're focused on your well-being instead of dieting for once in your life, right? We still don't know the metabolic damages that may have occurred of you being on The Biggest Loser. But we know we've looked at that at previous podcasts, leptin resistance, metabolic adaptation, things. You had said earlier, even on this podcast, that you've always been in a larger body.
That's a really good point. It's a great point. I see where you're coming from, and I'm glad that you brought this up. But the truth is, a lot of the vocabulary around health or weight or this, like, they just don't exist. Like, I don't even know what the word would be. I mean, you've planted a seed right now. Like, I like that. I get it. Overweight. Like, over what weight? Like,
what's wrong with the word fat?
What's wrong? F words. What's wrong with the F words?
So it's the cultural meaning that fat's derogatory, like,
I get it. I know we have some awesome awesome authors and people out there. You know what? I don't know how I feel about fat. Let's just leave. I don't know how I feel about that word just yet.
Good.
Because
work on it.
I understand where we're going with this. Can we take, how can we take that word back? How can we, I don't know, Rebecca, because I don't know yet how I feel about it. And damn you for bringing it up, because, when you're bombarded with that as a child, and that's what's used against you, you're like, yeah, I get it. Like, oh, he's fat, or what's up, fatty, or whatever. Like, okay. And I know that some people are in different places when it comes to this word. I'd like to hear a lot back from our listeners about their experience with fat.
Yep.
The other F word. It makes me mad. I don't really like that word.
Okay.
I don't know how to get, I don't know how to take power back from it just yet. I'm open to it.
Yeah.
And I find it kind of offensive, even when using it in a positive way. It's still that F word.
Gosh, I
have easier time saying the other F word.
Well, I've already said it on the show today. My hunch is that there's still some healing to do.
It's always so negatively.
Yes.
Like my thing, and I'm in a good place, so why am I going to bring up a negative word? I'm not going to, call myself a fucker. You know what I mean? Like,
well, because consider that you were actually traumatized by being in your body, just by being a normal kid in a body that works. Culture traumatized you. People you were supposed to trust and rely on who tried to reward you with, oh, if you lose weight, I'll buy you a pair of pants, or, all these things that have been part of your life. And then medicine and doctors and all, think of the different ways in which your body has been violated and traumatized because you were told that you were bad. And I think there's possibly some healing that is left to do because of the past negative experience and connotations with the word. But the negative side was culturally driven. And that's where folks who are trying to take back the power, the focus is on trying to neutralize it as a descriptor. So, like, I'm the short, fat, redheaded person to meet at the airport or something.
I dig it. I like it. I respect the work. Like, I'm down for what's going on that front.
Yeah.
I know for me personally, and again, this comes as a result of our conversations, I just don't like the word. And I get that. And they're fat. Like, I remember it being like, if I was out right now, and somebody were in a crowded room, a cafeteria, whatever, a shopping center, and somebody were to say fat, like just scream it out, what would your first reaction be, Rebecca?
Well,
just scream. No, I mean, just I'm talking physical. What's your first physical reaction?
Pain.
Okay, pain. But I'm talking like body wise. Would you look to see where it came from, or who was saying it?
Yeah, I would.
I'm talking like literally in the middle of a crowded room, somebody says fat.
Yeah.
Would you turn your head?
Yeah.
I would not.
You wouldn't?
I would not, because I would automatically assume that they were talking about me, or I would just try to get myself out of there.
Huh.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, there's definitely work that has to be done there. I acknowledge that, and I'm cool with that, and I'm up for it. I just,
It's like instant shame. Like for me, and the way you question it for me it was like, I feel like yelling is like a startling and an alertness thing. So that alertness would cause me to drive and be like, wait, what's happening here?
Exactly.
Yes.
And that's what.
But
that's
for
what I was
you, like,
that's
you're turning off your alert.
Said, like, fire, happy, whoa, hey, I would look. If somebody said fat, I would not look.
So you're actually turning off like your sympathetic nervous system that raises your attention to things that something is important.
Yeah. At that point, I would just go. It's not even like, hey, look to see where it's coming from. It's like, let's get out of here.
Wow.
But anything else, if they were like, listen, I'm at a place where if somebody was like cake, I would look.
Me too.
Yes, but
okay.
So,
well, this will be an interesting thing. Look, we talk about spirals and body kindness and spiraling up, and that idea of as you go through this evolution and you go up the spiral and you're more open and you're connected, and like all the progress you've made with walking away from diet culture and all the progress you've made to get get you to where you're at right now, you end up being up higher, like on this spiral where you're more open and connected, but you also kind of come back to a similar place, but you see it from a different
Yes.
perspective. So I
Yes.
think this is your similar place. Like you went to the doctor, there's a new perspective, you're empowered to take some different action there. I can't wait to hear about that. And now it's like this sort of next level of vulnerability for you is, how do I identify in a way that makes my life better?
Yeah, yeah, because at the same time, and here's the thing. I mean, like I said, I applaud our advocates out there that are taking back this word. But at the same time, maybe I just don't want to take back this word. Like, I just don't want anything to do with it. Like, I can leave a freaking word alone if I want to. I do, maybe, and I'm open to becoming more at peace with those letters that form that sound that happen to be a word. But I mean, can still not like a word.
Sure, absolutely. Do you respect other people's rights and interests in reclaiming the word, or do you struggle with that?
It brings a big smile to my face when I see authors and advocates use that word, and to have their picture on the cover and be so happy. Like, it makes me smile. Absolutely. Like, I dig that. I'm just not there. Or I'm just not. I just don't know if I want to be friends with that word. like the word bullied me for long enough. Like, now all of a sudden it's, we're working to make it more acceptable, but doesn't mean I still want to be your friend with it. I get it.
So what could be interesting in thinking about is it the word, or is it the people's misuse of the word that harmed you, that where the real anger should lie?
Total misuse of the word. Yeah, because I dig words. I like words. That's just one word. And it's funny too, because I guess, until right now in this conversation, I guess I never really thought about how much I dislike the word fat.
Yeah. I just
much thought. I mean, if you were to literally count the different words that I have said in my lifetime, that would probably be a word that I just haven't used much.
Yeah. And I think the thing where I'll kind of button up the conversation on, at least for now, for today, for listeners, is just for an educational standpoint, understand that fat activism is very, very important work that has been going on for many years, and that is really about dignity and liberation and respect. And it doesn't even necessarily intersect with health, right? So it is about trying to take back what has been taken away, and that is dehumanization and othering and oppression. It's very, very, very important work. And in that work, they're a big, important piece of it. And I would say that certainly individuals decide what they're doing in this space of fat activism, but in that work is where the need to disassociate the meaning and the harm behind the word comes from. And so we can acknowledge the beneficial purpose for the movement, for liberation, for well-being of the most marginalized, and that as an individual living and going through this world, we all have to work through our own traumas and pains and difficulties and our own thoughts and feelings and perceptions, and evolve and get to a place that's better for us as individuals, while we don't interfere with the value and the importance for social justice.
Yeah, no, Rebecca, well said. This is interesting. I think we've just opened up something that maybe I wasn't aware of, and that's cool. Doesn't mean I like you for it right now, but yeah, no. And I mean, for all of those individuals that are, fat activists, thank you. I dig it. I see you, and I'm doing my own thing and trying to figure out what this all means for our listeners. I really, whenever I'm on here, I love to include you. Please, engage with us. Let us know your thoughts. If you heard something that I said that you agree with or completely disagree with, like, hop on, let me know, help me so that, I can continue to grow. And I know that sounds selfish, but whatever. I love you guys. Help me out.
Yeah. And your email's Bernie, BERNIE @bodykindnessbook.com.
Yes. So please hit me up. But Rebecca, as always, I appreciate you inviting me on here to just literally blabber about everything from brows to the word fat. Where else can you get this type of banter? I love it. Till next time.
Yeah. No, I really enjoyed our conversation and getting an update from you. And I look forward to the next time we chat and see what's up in both of our lives and see how we can help listeners learn and grow as well.
Sounds good. Bye, everybody.
And that's our show. Let's continue this conversation in our Facebook group. Just search Body Kindness Podcast and ask to join the group. We also love ratings and reviews. Please subscribe to the Body Kindness Podcast and give us an honest rating and review. And if you can, tell a friend. If you'd like to support the podcast for the 2018 season, please donate at gofundme.com/bodykindness.